Say it with me. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Stephen A., they've been giving us the middle finger since I can remember. All the way back from the Ku Klux Klan. They have never supported black people whatsoever. They hoodwinked us into getting us on food stamps and getting us with government assistance, having us to abandon our own success. We had our own bus line. We had our own schools. We had all this stuff. They tricked us into believing that the white man was the cure to our own issues.
Okay.
They tricked us. And then now look at us, Stephen A. They don't have to bid for our vote. They got our vote hook, line, and sinker.
Well,
so they're never going to do nothing for us. And when you look at it, they have just secured our vote, and they don't have to do nothing for us. And this is what we've created, Stephen A. Mm-hmm. We've created an environment where we don't benefit from none of it because the Democrats don't have to work because they know they already got us. The Republicans don't need to work because they can win without us.
I've been saying that.
Black women voted at 90-some% for Democrats. Stephen A., Donald Trump won in a landslide.
Why the hell are you playing right into the hands of Donald Trump? Because I got news for you. On this particular issue, as it involves migrants, immigrants, those who are undocumented, dare we say illegal, in the United States of America, he's winning on this issue. There's a reason he won the popular vote. There's a reason he won the Electoral College vote. There's a reason he won every swing state. There are people within the United States of America that want our immigration crisis addressed and want the situation resolved somehow, some way. And the person that seems eager to bring a resolution to the table is President Donald Trump. Now, others may challenge that because they may say we had a bipartisan agreement when Joe Biden was in office that Donald Trump convinced the GOP to nix because he wanted to use it as an issue to favor him during the election. Well, damn it, it worked.
Didn't come up out of nowhere. We had 4 years under the Biden administration of open borders that was very intentional by the Democrats. They thought it would help them politically. But there were vested interests as well in the cartels who profited heavily from human trafficking and drug trafficking and who see the American people in our country as, a new consumer base for their illicit trafficking. First Amendment says, yes, we each have a right to peacefully protest. But also under the Biden administration, they were the ones who were censoring free speech, who were trying to tell us what we were allowed to say and where and what topics, and who were targeting American citizens for exercising our fundamental constitutional rights. The bottom line is they don't care about the American people. They don't even care about the people that they're claiming to protest for. So many of them are paid protesters. This thing is being orchestrated, obviously, in many ways. And ultimately, President Trump is the one who took action to keep the American people safe and try to bring peace back to the streets that these rioters are destroying.
Good evening, Patriots. Thank you for joining us tonight. You had many places you could be. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I am forever grateful. Before we dive into tonight's show, I want to get this out there real quick. StreamYard, which is what we use to put the show out live on, we go out live on YouTube, on Rumble, X, formerly Twitter, on LinkedIn, has been having issues all day. And in fact, we thought we were going to have to cancel the show up till about 45 minutes, an hour ago when it started working again. But I'm looking right now, it's showing that my internet signal is low. Although I just ran a speed test and it's screaming hot. We don't have a problem with the internet right now. It's something to do with StreamYard. So in the event that it becomes choppy or it just goes out, I'm sorry. There's nothing else I can do about it at this point. So anyhow, I just wanted to get that out there to you all. And also, if you haven't already done so, whether you're watching me tonight on any of those social media platforms, please subscribe to the channel and share it with your family and friends. Let everybody else know about the Douglas Ducote Show. And also, don't forget to go to douglasducote.com and check out our website. Okay. Many Democrat members of Congress have said publicly, you've heard it, that January 6th was the worst attack on democracy in our history. at least 3/4 of the House Democrats right now have uttered those words, as well as Democrat senators. Well, what does that mean? If J6 was the worst attack on our democracy in their minds, that means that it was worse than the medical experiments conducted on Black prisoners and even military members without their knowledge. You don't know anything about that? Google Tuskegee Civilist Study, for instance, or codename CAR, C-A-R 302668, and you will see the horrible and disgusting things that the United States government hid from the people and did to them with experimentation in the medical field. It also means that, well, the attack on Pearl Harbor was not worse than J6. And all the things that followed with that, where we had to put encampments up we did put encampments up for Japanese American citizens that were living here that loved this country. And we encamped them, rounding them up all over the country. It also means that it's worse than the Biden administration allowing hundreds of thousands of known gang members, sex traffickers of women and children, convicted murderers, child molesters, rapists, and drug traffickers loose onto the American streets to continue committing these despicable crimes. It means that it was worse than the 4 years of the Democrats in Congress under the Biden-Harris administration turning a blind eye on college campuses as they rioted, took over areas of schools as if they were an invading force, all in protest against Israel defending itself against terrorists. And then, if that wasn't bad enough, members of Congress such as AOC, Alejandro Omar, Jamel Bowman, Bonnie Watson-Coleman, and Rashida Tlaib supported them defending Hamas terrorists in Gaza and Palestine over Israel, shouting for death to Israel, attacking Jewish students on campuses, just causing total chaos. It means that J6 was worse than what we witnessed with the riots that took place across America and supported George Floyd's death or Michael Brown's death, looting and burning businesses, torching police cars, injuring police officers and innocent civilians. And of course, it's worse than what we saw with the Antifa and BLM riots across this country. And of course, it also means that what we've been witnessing for a week now, popping up in LA and now all across the country. New York City, Chicago, Houston, Washington State, Las Vegas, burning and looting businesses, cars, and physically attacking police officers with Molotov cocktails and throwing bricks at them, torching their police cars. How is it possible that one party, the Democrat Party, to be so damn delusional? Now, I'm not talking about the average Democrat out there. They're normal citizens out there trying to work and put food on the table and take care of their kids and take them to soccer practice or cheerleading practice or take vacations, enjoy the American dream and the things that our forefathers fought for. They're against all this crap that I just mentioned. But there is a fraction of the Democrat Party that are far left liberals, and they're delusional. And their leadership across this country is delusional. Where do you think all these riots take place? Think about that for a moment. When you see them attacking police officers, burning police cars, burning buildings, looting stores, you ever thought for a minute, where is that? Every one of those locations? Well, if you guess their mayor's a Democrat, well, then you would be correct. You don't see them doing that shit in Republican-run areas, do you? Hell no. Because Republican mayors and Republican governors, in the event that local law enforcement is being overrun, before we call out the National Guard, we allow the people to open carry and go out and help law enforcement. But not in Democrat-run areas where they have sanctuary cities and they put illegal aliens and criminals over they prioritize that over American citizens. So let me remind everybody out there, if you're a liberal Democrat or a Democrat member of leadership, whether you're a governor or mayor or elected official in your county or city or state, up in Congress, that the only person that died on J6, the only person, despite what you're being told by Democrat members of Congress, to this very day, they continue to spread the false narrative that police officers were killed by this insurrectionist riot on the Capitol on J6. It's all a lie. One person died. She was a U.S. Army military veteran. Her name was Ashley Babbitt. And she was murdered, shot in the head by a Capitol police officer who should be charged with her murder. And by the way, not that it really matters, but I'm just going to throw it out there because it pisses me off when I think how the Biden-Harris administration just allowed this to sweep under the table. He was black, she was white. Did that play into this? I don't know. I'm not accusing him of being a hateful, racist, bigot cop, but I know that there are some hateful, racist, bigot cops out there because I used to be in law enforcement. Now, that's a very small percentage of law enforcement that fit under that category. Way less than 1/8%. But it exists. Thankfully, those of us with a freaking brain know better. But the brainless members of our society believe that these Democrat members of Congress tell them when they continue to spread their no-merit, batshit crazy ideology. They continue to believe that J6 was the worst thing to ever happen in American history. And if that doesn't prove to you how delusional and absolutely out of touch with reality the Democrat Party is, then you're hitting the Hunter Biden crack pipe, and you should put that shit down because it's not good for your health. Now, I want to show you a couple of things. Y'all know who Scott Jennings is? Well, he's been on CNN many times, and he calls it out just the way it is, point blank. And I'm surprised that CNN even allows him to still come on and talk. I really am. But I thank them for doing it because at least it's showing the viewers of CNN, the liberal Democrats out there, that this shit's out of control.
I'm more than happy to hear the congressman say they're all going to El Salvador. I think for Republicans, this just confirms what we have believed about the Democratic Party and why it currently has a 21% approval rating in Congress. Look where the energy in the Democratic Party is. It's around retrieving illegal aliens from El Salvador. It's around fighting for these college campuses that have been rife with anti-Semitism. It's around biological males who want to play in girls' sports. This is why they are losing to Donald Trump every day, because the energy that Democrats feel comes on all these issues that are fundamentally not where the American people are.
Congressman, one second. Congressman, can I give you the chance to respond to that?
Donald Trump. Yeah, I mean, it's Donald Trump that's actually losing the support of the American people. Donald Trump's not focused on lowering the costs of housing, not focused on lowering the price of goods. He's out there deporting people that have legal status to be here, revoking student visas from students that are contributing to this country.
He doesn't have legal status to be here, Congressman. He has a deportation order. Why bring it up? I mean, she's hardly the first Democrat to bring it up. Hakeem Jeffries said earlier this year, we're going to fight in the streets. Anna Presley, Jasmine Crockett, other members of the Democratic Conference have continuously alluded to violence because they're so angry about the Trump.
I think it's unfair to say that they're alluding to violence. When Jeffries was saying that, he was talking about going to the streets in protest.
He said
which
fight
is
in the streets.
It's a political fight.
That's clearly not the context.
You can defend it,
said.
But if Trump uses the word fight, everyone loses their minds.
I want to remind you both.
Well,
Want to raise money for them, and yet, in a contra-constitutional way, when an instigation that an insurrection that he incited in a bipartisan way on January 6th, with violence against the Constitution, against the Congress, and against the United States Capitol, we begged the President of the United States to send in the National Guard.
What did the Speaker know, and when did she know it? And what about the 20,000 troops that were authorized by the President of the United States in advance, but never asked for by the Speaker of the House, and as a matter of fact, declined?
So always have to be careful whether you see a burned car, a broken window, or whatever it is. It may be the exuberance of the moment.
I was on the ground. I went on the ground on Sunday. I went to downtown detention center to try and get in. They slammed the door in my face. I need to get in. There were few people outside. They were not protesting. But guess who really had the attention? It was the National Guard, armed with huge, look like AK-47, huge weapons pointed at the people on the sidewalk who were barely protesting at all. Don't think that somehow, because they called out the National Guard, there was violence. There was no violence.
Democrats, seriously, wake up. I did. I was a Democrat for years. Very proud to be a Democrat. Till I woke up one day and realized that they've been hijacked by far-left liberal nut jobs from another fucking planet. This is delusional crap coming out of their mouths. And some of you out there defend them and believe what they're saying, even though you can see it with your own eyes what's happening all across this country. We've already talked about the racism of the Democrat Party and what is still happening today. They no longer physically put blacks in chains, but mentally, emotionally, and community-wise, they do. They've made them dependent on government handouts. They've sat back and watched their communities be destroyed, and black youth attacking each other and gunning each other down on the streets and burning and looting and joining places like BLM just to think they can get away with destruction. And God asked them if they know who Martin Luther King Jr. was. Ask any black youth today who that was. Now, if that black youth happens to have a mother and father, and the father didn't go out and become a crackhead or a drug addict or end up in prison and doing all kinds of horrible things, then I guarantee you that black youth knows exactly who Martin Luther King Jr. was. But the rest of them out there, the ones that are committing all this violence, that's all brought upon by this long history from its inception of the Democrat Party. And yet, so many Democrats just turn a blind eye and don't look at it that way. I can't help you. I can't scream it loud enough, but it's a racist bigot party. And unless you want to be referred to in the minds of Americans with common damn sense, then you're supporting racist bigots. You are. That's facts, period. End of discussion. I want to give a shout out to Outkick for what I want to share with you next. They did a great job with this, and it's really, really cool. I don't know if you saw this. Many of you probably didn't, but it's worth me sharing it on my show.
Heard what the Trump administration is just going around.
And there goes this fucked up StreamYard issue that we have. Let's see if we can do it again. Let's take it out and try and start it over again. And it's not going to work at all. Anyhow, I'll try that another time because it's something very important. If you want to, go check out Outkick and watch it yourself. Watch Tommy Lynn do a wonderful, fantastic job of putting all the pieces together with what we're seeing take place. It's a very, very much, it's spot on. They did a great job. So check it out. I will try and put it up later, or I'll do it next week during the show because you really, really need to see that clip of what she put together on Outkick. It's phenomenal. Okay, let's move on to some other news that isn't being covered like it should. And that is because of so much craziness with what's happening in LA and now sprouting up in different places across our country with these riots against ICE officials who are only trying to save communities and get rid of the bad elements of communities. Murderers, rapists, child molesters, people that have warrants for their arrest signed by judges and deportation orders signed by judges. Yet they want you to believe that they're just rounding up brown people because they want an all-white America. That's delusional. It's not correct. So, because of all that craziness, you're missing a very important piece of what's happening on planet Earth right now. And that is that we are literally moments away from a full-scale military attack on Iran because they refuse. We're having all these discussions. We're going out, we're meeting with them. We're explaining to them that you cannot have a nuclear weapon because they've made it very clear that once they do, they're going to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. They've said that over and over and over again. So Donald Trump now is put in a corner. What do you do if you're Donald Trump? How do you move past their stubbornness and negotiators at the end of the day having to walk away going, they don't get it. And I've told you many, many times, they're never going to get it. They will never get it. They want to kill Americans. They want to kill Jews. They're not even hiding it. The Ayatollah is out there preaching it. And then we have all this uprising happening on college campuses and attacks by Hamas and Hezbollah, supported by Iran with military weapons, to continue doing this. And then members of our own Congress supporting the uprising on college campuses. So therefore, they're supporting Iran. So it's coming down to the point where enough's enough. President Trump warned today that an Israeli military strike on Iran could happen very soon. Aimed evacuations and nuclear tensions. He emphasized that Iran must not obtain a nuclear weapon, stating, "It's very simple, not complicated. Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon." While expressing a desire to avoid conflict, Trump said Iran must negotiate a little bit tougher than they're already doing, referencing its refusal to abandon uranium enrichment. He noted that the U.S. and Iran are fairly close to a pretty good agreement, but added it's nowhere near what it needs to be. They need to admit and allow inspectors to come in that they will stop this uranium enrichment. So, how do you know that we're close to a military action? Well, the United States now has begun evacuating all non-essential personnel and family members of embassy staff and military bases all throughout the Middle East. As I speak, C-17s, C-5s from the Air Force are going in and evacuating American citizens from the embassies, except for essential personnel, and the family members of military forces that are on these different bases throughout the Middle East, and bringing them back here to America. The last time I saw this done in person was in Operation Just Cause, before we knew it was going to be called Operation Just Cause, when we realized tensions were building up, and it's a matter of time before we start kicking some ass. And then, boom, it was codenamed Operation Nimrod Dancer, which was the evacuation of all non-essential personnel out of Panama and all family members, wives, children, you're out. Then we knew, without a doubt, we're going to war. Trump said the move was precautionary. We've got to tell them to get out because something could happen very soon. Of course, no U.S. troops are being withdrawn, but emphasis near all of Iran and throughout the Middle East have been ordered to military services and as well as embassies to review all emergency plans and prepare. Meanwhile, the nuclear talks are set to resume in Oman, though the process has stalled over Iran's growing stockpile of enriched uranium. The IAEA reported a 35% increase in Iran's 60% enrichment uranium between February and May. They warn Iran could produce weapons-grade material for a nuclear weapon in as little as the next 3 days, meaning by Sunday. they can have a nuclear weapon. They've already got the delivery done. They've got the rockets built. They have built intercontinental ballistic missiles to strike Israel, to strike Europe. I doubt they have the capability to strike here in America, but I don't know. But we know that ICBMs have been built. And we know what they plan to do with this uranium. They've made it clear. The IAEA boards of governors have declared Iran in breach of its non-proliferation obligations, potentially setting the stage for UN sanctions, which you'd as soon piss in a fan because that does nothing to them. They also believe that if something isn't done soon, Iran will have up to 40 nuclear warheads built within the next few months. And they have said many times, as I've told you, that they plan to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. And guess who's supporting Iran? Drum roll. Russia and China. Now, maybe with this evacuation that's going on right now, Iran's going to get the message that they're fixing to get turned into a fucking glass parking lot. I don't know. I hope they get the message. I hope they agree to stop this madness and this saber rattling. Because Donald Trump basically said, fuck around and find out. That's what real leadership is. That's standing up to dictators and evil and saying, you're not getting away with it on my watch. Try it and see what's going to happen to you. Instead of what we've watched for the past 4 years, everybody gets a participation trophy. Sad, isn't it? Now, if StreamYard will allow me to play Guy Benson and what he had to say about it, we will try this.
Observer yesterday note that Hamas supporters aren't just burning American flags in our streets. They're now burning Americans in our streets. When we hear these chants of globalize the intifada by any means necessary, ringing out in our cities, on our campuses at these hate rallies, this is what it actually looks like in practice. It looks like a governor's mansion torched in the middle of the night with a Jewish leader sleeping upstairs with his family. It looks like 2 employees of the Israeli embassy in this city, our capital city, murdered in cold blood at a Jewish museum. And it looks like these elderly Jewish Americans firebombed at a peaceful rally on behalf of releasing hostages in Colorado. The pro-Palestine movement is a violent movement. The rhetoric is violent. They justify violence, they celebrate violence, and increasingly they are engaging in violence, not just over there. Here in the United States, it's a disgrace.
Supported by Democrat members of Congress. What a sad state of affairs the Democrat Party has found themselves in. I've got several Democrat friends. In fact, I've got a bunch, not several. I've got a bunch of Democrat friends. Just a few of them, maybe 5, that I try not to talk politics at all with. I respect them for who they are because of our time together in the past. But I do not respect their ideology. But for the most part, my Democrat friends aren't batshit crazy like these liberal Democrats are. My liberal Democrat friends, for reasons that I just can't wrap my head around, still support what is happening on these college campuses. and refuse to understand that it is Iran that's behind all of this. Refuse to understand that this makes J6 look like a fucking Boy Scout convention. And, you know, I just had somebody yesterday text me and said, you know, the real truth here is that Donald Trump just wants an all-white America. It's proof, but you can just see it. He's rounding up who, Doug? Only brown people. That's fucking delusional. You need to be in a padded room in a straitjacket if that's what you believe. If you can't see with your own eyes and listen to what's coming out of the Democrats' mouths, the leadership of the Democrats, or the liberal Democrats in our society, then there's something wrong with you. But my regular Democrat friends and regular Democrats across this country, they get it. They understand it. Many of them are registering. In fact, I've got friends right now that are Democrats that hadn't left the party yet. They've already said, I'm going to register as an independent. You know, they don't like the Republicans enough to come over to the Republican Party, but at least they're waking up enough to go that I can't support this radical shit that's taken over the leadership up in Washington, D.C. and across our country with these sanctuary cities. And listening to the rhetoric coming out of the mouth of Jasmine Crockett and Alihan Omar and Rashida Tlaib and AOC, who's just gone out there. It's like she's not even human anymore. How can somebody be so dumb that they believe that way? And, you know, I've got friends that say on the Republican side or conservative side that say, Doug, why are you wasting your time? Why are you continuing? They're never going to listen. They're never going to change. Well, they are. That's the point I'm getting at. That's why I keep doing this. Because there are enough people like me exposing the truth about the Democrat Party and the word's getting out there. And then these Democrats that have a brain do a little homework and realize people like me are telling the truth. And they see that, oh my God, what the hell is wrong with our leadership? It's going to hell. And one of my liberal Democrat friends said two things yesterday that just blew my mind. One was that I'm not a Christian because I say bad words in my podcast. And that's not Christian-like. Well, two things. One, that person also claims and says on his podcast, on his videos, on YouTube and Rumble, that he's a Catholic and he goes to church every Sunday. And, he says the F word and bad words too. That's hypocrisy. This is the same person, by the way, that said that Donald Trump is just rounding up brown people. He wants an all-white America. That's that kind of person is different than the typical liberal Democrat. I don't think there is any help. I think I'm wasting my time dealing with it. I keep trying. I keep trying to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're dumb. They've been led the wrong way. They're too blind to see it. And maybe if I keep an open line of communication, I can get them to see the light. And there are liberal Democrats out there that have seen the light. You know, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I should just not even attempt to try with this person anymore, or some of these other liberal Democrat friends of mine. But I do know that a lot of my Democrat friends have already came out and said, I do not support this shit that's happening with these Democrats in Washington, D.C., and these Democrats that are having these mayors and Democrat judges and Democrat DAs. They're letting criminals back out on the street after ICE arrests them for committing horrible crimes against American citizens. They go out and do it again. I support the angel families that their loved ones were killed by illegal immigrants, while Democrats support the illegal immigrants, the party, as in their leadership. And they're saying, Doug, I don't support that. It's gone insane. So they're getting it. That's why I keep doing this. That's why I keep hoping and praying, like many other conservatives and Republicans out there on social media, that if we just reach one at a time through our podcast, we're making a difference. Possibly even saving a life. So I just can't walk away from it. I mean, I even have family members that said, Doug, why do you put yourself through this? Dude, look what you've done for this country already. 4 combat tours in the military, permanent injuries for life because of it, all your years of service in law enforcement, dealing with the worst of humanity, and you still keep doing this. You still keep trying to make a difference. Well, I don't think it's in my control anymore. I've often wondered why I survived so many near-death experiences that I have, and there's been a bunch. Matter of fact, my second book is in the writings right now. I started it today. Talking about the horrible tragedies that I experienced personally and came out the other side alive. And then I sit back and go, why did I survive and others didn't? How did I not die? What's the bigger picture for me? Why am I still here? Maybe it's survivor's guilt. Maybe it's God's got other plans for me. And maybe, I don't know, this is his plan. What I'm doing right here, right now, what you're listening to. Because slowly but surely, I built a following. Across all my social media platforms and my website, I've got 1.6 million people that want to hear what I have to say. So maybe that's God's plan for me. Because other than writing books about my life experiences, you know, the one I just finished writing, it's about ready to go to publication, is about my military service. The funny things that happened in my military service. I didn't want to make another downer book for everybody to read out there. With most, not downer, but most veterans that write about experiences in the military, it's the horrible things and tragedies they experience in war. And that's a good thing, because you need to know that. You need to know what men and women go through in war and combat. And it opens that up for you to see that and how important it is to try peace through strength and try your best to do everything you possibly can before you engage military troops. So that's good what they write. And some of those books become movies, Hollywood movies. And that's a great thing because then it allows you to go see the movie after reading the book and get more detail and more into what they experienced. Now, will my books become a movie? I don't know. It'd be cool if they did. But that's not what the point of it is. The point of it is to get my story out there so people will know that in my military book, for instance, that it's not all about killing people and death and destruction. The book's about a sick sense of humor and how sometimes we say things and do things that are just absolutely hilarious. And I've told these stories over time, at parties and with friends and family, and they laugh their ass off at them. And so many people have said, Doug, put this in writing, for crying out loud, man. This is freaking hilarious. And it's a side of military service that people they don't know about. They don't see. And some of it is so far-fetched, trust me, that I've actually reached out to the people that were involved that are still friends of mine today, and thankfully because of social media, we reconnected through the years and said, hey, look, man, I want to tell this story about this particular thing that happened to us, when we were in Desert Storm or when we were in Panama or when we were at Hunt Army Airfield in Savannah, Georgia, or when we deployed down to NTC and the National Training Center. Can I use your actual name in it? That was there, because people are going to go, this guy made this shit up. And they laugh. They're like, yeah, that's, I tell this story to people too. And they're like, that fucking shit didn't happen. You just made this up, And I'm like, okay, good. So I will throw your name in there and give you a shout out because there are things that happen in military service that are going to just make you see military service in a different light. Let me just leave it at that. All right. And then, of course, there's the book I'm writing right now, which is Cheating Death. Many, many times being in situations where mentally I say to myself, damn it, this is it. I'm dead. And 10 minutes, 30 minutes later, I'm not. And then I wonder why. And when it keeps happening to you over and over and over again throughout your life, it makes you think. So maybe in writing this book, it will help spread some knowledge out there that for those that don't believe in the power of prayer or don't believe there's something after death, that maybe there is a reason why we're here on this earth. And, I don't want to preach religion to you. I grew up Catholic. I left that church when they started abusing children. And I was involved in abuse myself and have nothing to do with it anymore. But I tried other religions. I started following Jimmy Swaggart when I left the Catholic Church. And lo and behold, if he doesn't turn out to be having sex with prostitutes in New Orleans, you haven't heard that story? Google it. Not once, but twice. We forgave him the first time, then he went and did it again. So organized religion and me just don't get along very well. I became an ordained minister for my own heart and soul. And I do weddings and funerals. And, if anybody wants to hear me talk about the gospel, then I share that with them. But they have to bring it up first, unless it's, at a wedding or at a funeral where it's appropriate and the family members want you to talk about something from the Bible or scripture or, other than that, I don't go around putting my religion beliefs on anyone. And yes, I do say bad words now and then, but that's between me and God. And that's pretty damn simple in the Bible. It isn't for anybody else to judge, although they do. Anyhow, so I got off on a little thing there that I didn't want to go down, but I did. So, one more. What's wrong, girl? Well, maybe she saw a ghost. Hey, come here. You okay? Hold on a second. You all right, girl? It's okay. That was my Chinese crescent. She's very old now. Sadly, we'll probably lose her soon. And she's having heart issues. And she's on like 4 different medications, or 3 medications twice a day now. So when she does that and something spooks her, it kind of freaks me out. We can't even allow her to go outside anymore to walk in the heat or run through the yard without worrying about her dropping dead. So, you okay? It's all right. It's all good. I want to talk real quick about well, I'm not going to talk about that because it's too damn depressing and it's a Thursday. Let's talk about what's happening right now with Republican attorney generals. 27 states so far coordinating a game plan with the FBI and the Department of Justice to root out domestic terrorism against Jewish people here in America and terrorists that are come across our southern border that are here for the purpose of killing us. Fox News obtained the first digital copy of the letter to FBI Director Kash Patel and Attorney General Pam Bondi this past Tuesday, requesting assistance in the fight against these domestic terrorists that are building up in the United States. We hope to meet with you personally to discuss ways that the states can support the excellent work of the FBI and partner with the Department of Justice to ensure those who are committing these horrible acts are held accountable to the fullest extent of the law. The letter was spearheaded by South Carolina Attorney General Alan Wilson. Said, like you, we are horrified by the Hamas terrorist attacks against people of Israel on October 7th, 2023, and we are concerned with the increase in anti-Semitism and the unfolding since that fateful day. State attorney generals wrote, domestic terrorism has become more emboldened to commit horrific crimes, as we're seeing, against Jewish people in America and their supporters since October 7th. And our collective response will impact the trajectory of that deployment. Meaning, let's do something together as attorney generals. They all happen to be, I believe, all Republicans. And they're the attorney generals of Alabama, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, New Hampshire, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Pennsylvania, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Utah, Virginia, Wyoming, and West Virginia. And they all said that an attack is coming soon. And I've talked about that many times because of the open borders and the Biden-Harris administration turning a blind eye and allowing unknown people to just flow across here. And when they get arrested and they're vetted and to find out that they committed horrible crimes in their country, or they served time for murder or rape or child molestation, these people we don't want here. We want them to immediately be deported. Or they escaped from jail in these places, or they were let out of jail in these places, and we vetted them. And instead of deporting them, the Biden administration, as you know, it's facts, the liberal judges and liberal DAs with authority from the White House let them back out on the streets. Some of them committing more crimes again. Others sitting and waiting for the right time to make what happened to us on 9/11 look like just a freaking simple fireworks display in your local neighborhood on the 4th of July. And that's frightening. Anyway, you have many places to be tonight. You chose to be here with me, and for that, I'm forever grateful. If you haven't already done so, please subscribe to my channel wherever you're watching me tonight, whether it's on YouTube or Rumble or X or LinkedIn. We go live on LinkedIn as well. Watch out for one another. Let those that are around you that you love know that you love them. Tell them. Don't be afraid to say that. I'm the biggest alpha male you're ever going to know. And those that I love in my heart, when my time on earth is done, or their time on earth is done, the departure is knowing how I felt about them. Either I told them and they understand it with me, or I told them and they're no longer here. And I think that's a very important life lesson for all of us. And just remember that the fight for survival of our democracy and our country is not over with. The Democrat liberals want you to believe that Donald Trump is the threat to our democracy because they want to side with the real threat. And that's pretty damn sad. I'll be back next Tuesday for another live show at 8 p.m. Central. Hope you will join me. Hope you will share my videos on my channel with your family and friends. Let them know about the show. They got little ones out there. Let them know that every now and then Mr. Doug says a bad word or two, or sometimes I go on a rant and it might be 20 or 30. So wear headphones or whatever you call those little things you put in your ear, pods, or keep the volume down, or watch it after the kids go to sleep. Also, don't forget to go to douglasducote.com. Check out the website. There's also lots of things that you can purchase there for family and friends. 4th of July coming up. There's some cool things you might want to get. And just to show your support for what we do here and the Douglas Ducote Show, and for all of you that have gone and purchased stuff from the gift store there, thank you. It means a lot, and it helps us do what we do, which is bring this to you, the American patriots. Something breaks between now and next Tuesday that's of very importance to the American patriots of this country. I will either do a live program about it or I will do a video about it. Other than that, whatever you're doing this weekend, please have a wonderful and safe and blessed weekend. Please watch your six, and remember, it isn't over with. There are people currently right now rioting across America. And sadly, members of our Democrat leadership support them and are emboldening them and are inciting them to hurt us. As always, please say a prayer for our men and women serving in the United States military, our veterans, our law enforcement officers, our first responders, their families, our angel families, our blue and gold star families, and our country. May God bless the United States of America, and may God bless each and every one of you. Good night, everyone.